So I've got this Bogong laser cleaner. It's a 500-watt pulse laser, and I didn't specifically buy it for the purpose of doing this car, but it was in the back of my mind that, hey, this thing is here, and it could be potentially used for it. But I have definitely done a lot of testing, and I feel like the amount of heat that it puts into the panel of the car is too high for it to be useful for something like stripping paint off an entire car. In a small area, I think it would be okay. I would probably prefer sandblasting if I had unlimited media and all the things that I needed to sandblast with. Even that, or using a rotary sander, it all puts heat in the panel, which can result in warping. But this has the potential to put a tremendous amount of heat, or even blow a hole right through the panel if you get stupid with the settings and the time. So anyway, the reason, number one, I don't really want to do this because, well, why would I want to do it? It looks okay the way it is, and it means I don't have to do any work. I can just enjoy it. But unfortunately, the car does have a little bit of rust down here on these quarters, and actually quite a bit of body filler around the lower edge of this. So what I would like to do is get in there and just see how much are we dealing with. 95% sure I'm going to be ordering these two pieces and cutting this out and just welding new metal in. But I thought, well, let me get a look at it and see, just in case it's much less rust and previous rust and body filler than I thought, maybe we could fix it, because let me tell you, it is not cheap to replace all that metal. It's actually quite pricey. The other area of the car that needs it is down here on the tail panel. It's been damaged right in this area. There's a lot of body filler. It's rough looking right behind the reverse light there. That's a must replace piece. I also feel like this entire car has just a slight bit of a warp to it, and like, not because of the frame, but the body itself, to me, feels like it's a little bit low on this side over here. Maybe a frame machine could change that, or maybe it's not actually low. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but in any case, I don't really want to have to put $3,000 worth of metal on the car. But the tail panel for sure. These down here, fairly likely. Rocker panels are fine. Front fenders are good. Trunk, hood, all that. The roof, everything is fine. So really the main area is right down here. So I thought I would come out here and see what the laser does to it. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, the initial test, body filler right there. Doesn't seem to be putting too much heat in. It's pretty fast, just kind of bubbles the paint up. I took a razor blade, just kind of scraped the paint off of there, but that's all body filler. Don't know how thick it is yet, but I'm going to expand this out until I find some metal. Well, I've had my trusty shop fan going. Thankfully the weather is nice and cool. Not exactly cool weather, but it's not hot. And man, I'll tell you, the smell with the gas mask on, no problem. But man, it stinks in here. It's definitely not going to be a very practical thing to do indoors, which I kind of wasn't really planning on doing it all indoors. But really, like I said, today is more of a test. Results are interesting. So I can definitely see where the body filler begins over here. This is all just pure metal. So it does a pretty good job of lifting the edge of that body filler as well. Over here is an area that was just pure metal that had some rust bubbling out. You can see those dark areas are all where the rust was at. So all that's going to have to be ground out, and some of those are going to have to be, this one for sure will have to be filled. You can see it's getting bigger and bigger as I push. Now, one problem that I've got with this laser is anywhere there's a hole, screw hole, new hole, rust hole, you've got to be mindful of what's behind there, because it could be anything. It could be tar that was used for, sound deadening that could sit there and smolder, because that laser goes a long ways. I can set those boxes over there on fire with no problem, depending on which mode it's in. So that's the worst thing about it, is just, having to be mindful of those things. But this went really fast. So if I was outside, fan blowing on me, fresh air, not worrying about making the shop be full of debris and everything. Speaking of which, they say, the lasers don't leave any debris, but yes, there's flecks of paint all over the place, but it does vaporize a lot of it. You can see here, it just turns it into carbon, goes up, ends up on the ceiling, and not good. Speaking of the ceiling, I discovered a while ago there's a hole up here, and I can also see a secondary one here, and I can see that something has been stuffing debris in between the layers of the bubble. So I don't know what the heck it could be. Um, Particularly because there's not a lot of room in between those two layers. They're stapled on both sides, so it'd have to be something really small. And I can see they've been chewing up stuff, so I'm not entirely sure what we're dealing with, but a new problem to deal with at the property. Yay! Well, I've just discovered something that makes me very happy. As you can see, this is not rusted out at all. They literally hit something, dented it in. They used the old drill-in style dent puller, pulled it out a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, and just filled it with a quarter-inch plus of body filler. So that's awesome. This whole panel so far is in much better shape than I ever imagined it would be. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some rust, but this looks fantastic here. So the good thing is I have a DF505 weld-on style dent puller, and I will get all this pulled back out, and we'll weld all these holes back in. And I don't think we're going to have to replace it. So the question is, the other side, does it have the same treatment? Because I swear that it had some bonder down there, but I could be, this side's got rust. The funny thing is, it looks like there may have been some body filler. This definitely has much more damage. Rust over here on this side. I can't tell if there's body filler there or not. This is definitely going to take some replacement, but the good news is I can probably get away with replacing only, I noticed the pinch weld is smashed up here too. I think I can get away. Yeah, this is a rear panels. We're gonna have to build, we're gonna have to do some fabrication, but I think we can focus those efforts on this side, and I think the other side we're gonna be really in good shape on. So the other area is gonna be this one right here, where this tail panel, on the bottom of the tail panel is separated right here. Be a lot of work in that area, but not too bad all in all. At least this side here looks like it's gonna be an easy fix. All right, so I'm gonna take a little close look at the old damage here that they sort of pulled out. As you can see, they didn't do a very good job with that. I don't know if, this is quite a bit thicker metal than what I had in the IROC when I did the quarter panel on it. It's also in a kind of a radius curve, so it's a very complex area, very stiff, I would presume. I'm trying to pull it out in this direction. But I think I might try to get the DF505 out and just see if I can get any movement with this, because I might be fooling myself thinking that I can do it easily with that tool. All right, let's take a look at the damage. As you can see, a lot of dirt fell out. This is holding tons of dirt. And right at the level where the dirt's coming out is where all this is rusting at. There was a little surface rust under a couple of areas of the body filler too, but mostly down here. So I've got a lot of progress with the DF505. I've pulled most of the good metal is pulled about as far as it's going to go. You can see in here there's a lot of tension in this metal where they drilled, and it pulled these little kind of volcano-shaped holes outward, and it just doesn't leave a lot of metal to flow into the low spots when you try to pull them up. So I tried driving these all down and then went back with the DF505 and got more movement, but ultimately I doubt this is going to be 100%. But pretty much everything down here is going to have to be replaced. There's one spot here I blew a hole in. It looked kind of fishy, and I touched it, and sure enough, it blew a hole. So we're going to check along this edge. Got more body filler coming up here as well. And then over here, we've got, I haven't really messed with it yet, but obviously this is all going to have to be replaced. And we need to make sure, we don't put a bunch of finishing work in, say right here, and it's about to rust out. But most likely it's going to be on the same plane right here where dirt and debris is collected over the years. I still need to get this piece off, see what's left underneath of there as well. If it's too bad, I'll just buy these panels and just cut out what I've got to cut out and put on here, rather than try to go in and put a piece of metal in here and shape it to fit. And it's another day, and we are back looking at the 49. So obviously, with this area down here that's kind of rusty, I've already ordered the entire new panel to replace this with, so we will be cutting all this out all the way up to this line. And I'm looking at this and I can see there's clearly body filler in here, not a very good job of it, mind you. So we're going to blast this away and see what we're dealing with right here, because this panel is uneven right here. This part here is higher than this part for some reason. We'll take a look at that. We're going to blast off this door in this area, and looks like there could be some other Bondo body filler up in that area as well. So we're going to hit all these spots just to look at them. Kind of in it now at this point. We can't really back out of the project, so we might as well just go for it and get it all right. All right, getting kind of wrapped up for the day. Didn't spend a lot of time out here today, but I have my reasons. Anyway, got a little bit hot here with laser cleaner. It's kind of an area I don't care about. The panel that I'm going to be receiving is going to come up to somewhere in this area. I thought I went further back, but the one that I ended up getting comes back somewhere about here, comes up, and will come across. So the only big problem I see is right here in this area. There's a low spot there, especially where it's really hot. That dips down quite a bit. I don't want to touch it because I know it's hot still probably. Anyway, it dips right in this area right through here and kind of up around here. So the high spot is right up here and the low spot's there. So I'm going to work on that. I think that's going to be about the only major area of work. This is all thin up here. I tested it with a magnet with several layers of tape. So it doesn't want to stick. If it's like this thick right here, it'll fall. Anything thinner than that, it'll pretty much stay like this right here. And it stays pretty good up there. So I believe that we're very thin. Probably just a feather that they did off of these repairs. But in any case, if I do find out there is more body filler, I'm going to take it off and pull it and then reapply. I don't want any thick body filler on the car. All right, so that turned out pretty good. Got it. Actually, this area up here is about perfect. It's a little bit low down in here because of all the tension from this metal down here that I haven't pulled. You're really kind of supposed to pull all of it. You know, they call it first in, last out. So if this was the start of the damage, where something hit it and pushed this whole area in, the last part you would pull would be this. You would start out here on the outer edge, you'd release the tension, use that with the body hammer, the flat area, kind of metal kind of flows. So you're going to bang the high point. That's going to put tension down into the low spot, and then when you're trying to pull it, it's going to let that metal kind of flow. It's the best way to describe it. But in any case, we're going to be coming up with a cut somewhere along here. So it's only barely going to get into this area. So all I'm really worried about is making this part flat up here. Then there's a few other areas I'm just eyeballing. There's a couple of dings, small dings, one up there in the front. The biggest is this area right here. Kind of see how it waves right there, the reflection of the wheel. That's going to be a fun one to pull. A very small one right here. But in looking at the rest of the car, I know the real problem area in this car is towards the back. So this car got bumped into in the back, and there's obviously body filler right here. This whole area right here is very heavily body filled. The magnet barely sticks, and this area as well. So probably going to replace the tail panel. We'll see once we get it stripped off. But this corner back here is going to be substantially damaged, I believe. Maybe I can pull it and make it work, or I may have to cut this and put a new piece back here. But it looks like the next area we're going to target is right here. I'll show you why we got onto here anyway, just to take a look at it, see what we're dealing with. Well, we knew something didn't make sense over here, and when I first stripped it, I thought, man, it looks like it's just metal, but clearly there's plenty of body filler in that area that didn't look right. So, get all this out of here. Well, that's about as good as it's going to get. It's pretty straight, actually. A little bit rough right through here, but we'll have to knock down a few high spots once we get a guide coat on it. And I could sit here for another 2 or 3 hours pulling and pushing and getting it close, but I think we're in good shape. It'll be a minimal body filler. And most of it's not bad. Of course, this will all be new from here down. So I'm really wanting to get in this area. I probably shouldn't do it today, but this is going to be real interesting for sure. All right, maybe a final progress update. Actually, I want to hit this too. Um, but where I've been working out here, I've got this pretty straight now. Feels pretty good. It's 80%, 85%. This area right here is giving me a difficult time. There must be some kind of brace back here, but it doesn't move like the rest of it. But maybe right in here, I feel like this could come up a little bit. We'll get a guide coat on it next time I'm up here and block it and see what we're dealing with. But I think it's in pretty good shape now. Put a little bit of body filler on it, it'll be good. I'll pull this area. The rest of this over here is all going away anyway with the new sheet metal that'll be here this weekend. So hopefully here in a couple of weeks, maybe if all goes well, we'll have some new sheet metal on here.